In 1533, Ivan IV became the new Prince of Muscovy at just 3 years old, so his mother ruled as regent. However, it is believed that she was assassinated and the regency continued to change hands between the powerful nobles, known as boyars, causing the young Ivan to distrust the nobility. But once he turned 16, he was crowned the first Tsar of Russia, a new divine title, which tied him to all Orthodox people. And he married Anastasia Romanov, a member of the powerful Romanov family, to further strengthen his control. Shortly after this, however, his mother's family was blamed for a great fire in Moscow, and many nobles were killed in the aftermath, allowing Ivan's power to grow. Plus, the new Tsar created a parliament of nobility and clergy, and a new standing army called the Streltsy. However, a new code of laws, the Subernik, stopped peasants from moving between jobs, paving the way for serfdom. Internationally, he expanded Russia by seizing places like Kazan, but to the west, the Polish forced the Livonian Order into an anti-Russian alliance, starting the Livonian War in 1558. During this war, Russia fought the Polish, the Swedish, the Danes, and the Cossacks in the south for many years. And during the war, Ivan's wife died, and he believed that the boyars had poisoned her. Then in 1563, Prince Kurbsky, a close friend of Ivan's, defected to the Polish, and these events led Ivan to suspect further disloyalty within the ranks of the boyars. So in 1564 he left Moscow leaderless, telling no one of his intentions, and from a nearby monastery he sent a letter accusing the boyars and clergymen of treason, and said he would abdicate. Boyars feared ruling over a now suspicious population, so they agreed to Ivan's demands, like the right to execute and confiscate the lands of suspected traitors, and to create a separate territory under his direct control, and this land was known as the Oprichnina. From this land he raised money and an army known as the Oprichnik, and they helped expand his control into 8 districts, essentially splitting Russia into 2 different administrations. And those who tried to end the Oprichnina were executed, like Ivan Fedorov, the leader of the parliament. But his paranoia began to worsen because in 1568, King Eric of Sweden was arrested and executed by his own nobles, and the following year his second wife died, many believed of poisoning. Plus, in the north, the border town of Izborsk easily surrendered to the Lithuanians, causing Ivan to suspect treachery amongst the nobles in Novgorod. It was, after all, Russia's second largest city, capital of the former Novgorod Republic, and still maintained a degree of autonomy. So Ivan marched with his forces to Novgorod in 1570, believing the nobles were planning on switching sides and joining Lithuania. He constructed a barrier around the city to prevent escape, and sent the bodies of dead clergymen ahead of him. Ivan then entered and dined with the Archbishop of Pimin, but during the meal he had the Archbishop arrested, and Ivan's troops ransacked the churches and killed hundreds of clergymen. The sack of Novgorod continued for another month, during which thousands were killed and the city was left in ruins, surrounding fields destroyed and wealth stolen. And this marked the beginning of the once great city's decline into a small provincial town. En route to Moscow they ransacked Pskov, and once back in the capital, many nobles, including the treasurer, were executed after quick trials. But he also arrested Bazimov and Vyazemsky, 2 leaders of the Oprichnik, and as they were former nobles themselves, this allowed lower-born people to rise through the ranks. However, in 1571 the Crimean Tatars launched a raid into Russia, meeting very little resistance, and set fire to Moscow. This fire killed thousands and destroyed whole sections of the city, and Ivan couldn't even find a suitable place to live within the city for years as repairs were being done. But importantly, he now saw the Oprichnik as ineffective due to the very little resistance they gave to the Crimeans. So in 1572 he ended the Oprichnina, but he had successfully removed his rivals and weakened the nobility, so he became an absolute ruler of Russia. However, to end the Livonian War he surrendered claims in Livonia, but he did expand eastwards into Siberia. Yet, in 1575 he did make a further political play, when he abdicated in favour of Simeon Bekbulatovich, who was a Tatar. This was done so he could confiscate lands belonging to the monasteries without facing backlash himself, before assuming power again just a year later. But since he accidentally killed his eldest son, who was groomed to take power, his second eldest son Fyodor took over, but Fyodor did not produce an heir, and this led to the times of trouble in Russia.